So we are very excited to have a very special session here at Como RetroCon. My name is Keith. This is Doug with the Wire Nerdy Podcast. If you've not checked us out, we're on all the things, the YouTubes, you name the platform, it's there. So if you haven't checked us out, we'd be very humbled if you do. Our guest today is a man who wears many hats and usually a very cool wrestling shirt sometimes. Yeah. If you have ever had a dead NES cartridge that you refuse to throw away, you probably know him as the video game surgeon who pioneered the open cart surgery technique. He's a 20-year veteran of the radio industry, a developer who has brought legends like Yaya B-Bliss 2 to physical cartridges, and quite possibly the world's leading authority on breakfast cereal, which is kind of interesting. Whether he's hanging out with his friends and crews, soldering a new save battery, or cutting a wrestling-style promo for a hidden gem, he brings a level of passion to his hobby that is truly infectious. He's a creator, a historian, a developer, and a legend of the Northwest retro scene. Please welcome John Riggs.
My goodness.
Hey!
That's quite the... I've never had an intro like that before. That's
very nice. We're known for our intros.
Yeah, putting me over there. An intro like that, I think we can go home early.
That's getting him over. That's what it is.
That's true. I literally am wearing a hat. I literally am wearing a wrestling shirt.
See,
so that's even funnier.
We tried to do we tried to do research on like our questions to make it really unique. So we're gonna make these are gonna be some unique questions. They're not like the standard like how'd you get started and
Sure. What's your favorite game?
Yeah.
Which is fine.
So hopefully these will be interesting. I'm gonna have Doug start with the first one, launching into your current career. Go ahead.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I think talking about radio, that's where you started. We have to talk about you were in a world building only sound. When you moved to YouTube, what was the hardest radio habit to break? And what was one radio skill that gave you an immediate unfair advantage? Switching from we don't know really who's talking to full video and then camera etiquette and all that.
Yeah. Well, that's the good news is radio and YouTube are the same outside of instead of talking into a microphone, I'm talking into a camera.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. Whether I'm at work and on the radio, I'm literally in what looks like a broom closet when you walk in there. I have a microphone in front of me, just like I have one here. And I have my screens in front of me and my little notes and everything else too. So it's almost no different. The only difference now is instead of editing audio, now I'm editing audio with the video track too, which is also still kind of, one-on-one the same when you think about it. So, I mean, the unfair advantage is a lot of the old radio philosophies of I'm not talking to a group of people. I want to talk to the one person individually. So like I was sometimes like it says saying, hey, everyone out there in Radio Land. It's like, well, nobody wants to be part of a group. They want to be spoken to like, that undivided attention.
Yeah, make it personal.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like I don't say how's everyone feeling. I say how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Like, something like that. So
it's a lot more personal.
It is, yeah. It's because it's me just saying like, oh, here's some cool games that you should check out. Just like I'm doing here on the Como RetroCon. I'm just like, someone will come up and say, oh, here are some great Japanese games, that you don't need to know Japanese to play, or something like that. It's like it's all show and tell. At the end of the day, YouTube is just like less about look at me and more about just like here's just a bunch of games you should play, and it's all about the video games.
When you find that community of people that are interested in the same thing you are, it's really kind of cool to share.
Yeah.
That
well, and every game is someone's favorite game of all time. So yes, you've heard of Mega Man, you've heard of Castlevania, those are great. But then every once in a while you'll find that one is like, oh man, I was that kid on the block who had Monster Party, and no one else ever heard of Monster Party, or whatever the case may be. So it's fun when there's at least someone out there, hopefully myself, that will be like, oh, I'm glad you liked that game, or I'm glad you found out about that game too, because I thought I was the only one who had ever heard of that game or something. So yeah.
One interesting thing I want to ask you is here at the con they have like a section set up that's like an 80s room, and that's kind of a resurgence thing that's happening right now with nostalgia and neon. Do you think we're remembering it correctly? You were there. I was there. What's your feeling about the 80s resurgence of nostalgia?
Man, listen. Yeah, I see those, and I think they're great, and I love to see it. Cleveland does a great job with that. Portland Retro Gaming Expo does a great job at that, too. But everyone's bedroom was different or whatever. Cleveland's great because it looks like a bedroom with like a twin-size bed and like whatever the bubblegum mattressing. I will put Cleveland on blast because in that 80s boys' bedroom, there was not a Sears catalog underneath the mattress. So I gotta say, it wasn't perfect. But Portland does a great job because that's what my room looked like. It wasn't like neon and bright lights. It was wood paneling and like shag carpet.
Dude,
and that's what I had to work with. So,
Yeah.
And we had pets too. So the shag carpet was not vacuumable very well. So it was just like
vacuum well. That's true.
it was dander and it was Kool-Aid stains and like that's what my 80s looked like.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have traded it for anything.
You can't have an 80s retro without wood paneling. I mean, that's
you can't. No. Yeah, people don't realize exactly how everything was wood grain. Cars had wood paneling on the side of them.
They did.
And everything was saturated with like cigarette smoke because smoking was socially acceptable everywhere. Like I mean, you'd find ashtrays at McDonald's.
That's right. The smoking or non-smoking. And what was funny when you'd walk into a restaurant, they say smoking or non-smoking. They say you were right next to the smoking section, and you still smell it.
It's all smoking. Yeah,
it's all technically smoking.
Like I'm not smoking, but there's still smoke in here. So
Exactly.
yeah, non-smoking is outside, and that's going to be even worse with all the car admissions at the time.
Yeah, that's good. All right, Doug, I want to have you run down the list. We have some fun questions we want to get into.
Moving on to open cart surgery. That's
sure.
a thing you do. Is there one story of something that died on the table and you just kind of donate it? We see all the success stories, but there's surely something working on and, it died, I'm going to use it for something else.
Yeah, that happens a lot. It happens more often than not. And I like to post those videos too, because oftentimes the people in the comments are way smarter than I am.
And they help out.
Yeah, so they're the ones who will say, and usually they'll say something, and I'm not kidding when I say I don't have a tech background, I don't have an engineering degree. I've been doing that kind of open cart surgery stuff without a camera since the 90s when I used to repair the broken games at the local video store in trade for free rentals. It's how it worked out for me. And then I just started, it was like when I had a YouTube channel, then I was like, maybe I'll film this. And then that's when it kind of took off from there.
Very nice.
But there have been several times I've had failures and of course it makes you feel down, but I still like to post it anyway, because oftentimes someone in the comments will say, try, and they'll be much more techie than I am. They're like, well, how come you didn't solder the V29 to the A12? And I was like, what are you talking about? I know how to do puzzles. I can put puzzles together. That's how I'm doing this.
And it's not like you have a schematic, right?
No. Well, and different games have different deals, or try a multimeter. It's like, I don't know how a multimeter works. It's easy. Just put on the Alpha 9 to. It's like, again, I need to. If I'm shown how to use one, I can use one probably. But I'll take those games, and sure, a lot of times either I'll look at the comments, I might fix them off camera and then have them work, which is fine. But yeah, then sometimes the games that don't work, I can still kind of harvest those parts. If it's a game that's like, I'm not going to try to save. I'm trying to think of a game that's like, I hate to say Silent Service, but Silent Service, for instance. Yeah. There's plenty of those out there. That's fine. But sometimes I can use Silent Service for its CHR RAM, or I can use it for the capacitor or something like that. Yeah. So then it becomes a organ donor, so to speak, for these other games.
And what I like about you is that not only do you do all this work on the physical, but you dive into the digital. And that I love this. And if you guys haven't seen it, he actually has it at his booth. He hacked it was Burger Time, right?
Burger Time, yeah.
Burger Time ROM, and made it a Bob's Burger thing, that like the show, because you love Bob's Burgers, right?
I was literally sitting on the couch watching Bob's Burgers. I think it was on a Sunday afternoon. That's what I was doing. And as I was watching the show, I was like, I could probably edit Burger Time to have it be the Bob's Burgers character. So I literally just pulled out my laptop at the moment, and over the course of also kind of watching it in the background, I ended up just changing the graphics of the game. I was like, that's kind of funny. And I made a couple of them for one convention, and then they were gone, and then something else, and I posted it and everything, and it just kind of became that thing where for some reason, people are still into it, and there's people who buy the game who don't even have a working Nintendo. It's funny because
so
they'll be like, "Well, no, I promise you the game works too, but I just want to have it on my shelf."
That's so cool though, because it's such a great fitting theme too. The Burger Time thing makes total sense. So, but on the ROM front, I mean, you did the editing, but
right,
overall ROMs, I know. Are you a purist when it comes like some people view ROMs as digital preservation?
Yeah.
Some people are like, no, I only do.
No emulation, only a physical hardware.
What's your view on that, just in general? What's your take?
Yeah, for me personally, I love them. I mean, it is preservation. It is a great way to, if you just want to play the game.
Yeah.
I just want to see the game. I want to experience the game that somebody made once upon a time. Maybe they don't have a working Nintendo. Maybe they have a Nintendo, but they can't hook up to their TV at the time, or whatever it is. I like the fact that we have these options. If the physical exists, I'll get the physical 100% of the time. I love having the physical because that's the actual thing. That's the way it was meant to be played on a CRT. And I still use a CRT for things like that too. Awesome. Like if I'm going to play it because I want to play it. Because I mean, a lot of the games graphics back then, and it's more out there now. But graphics at the time were built to be on a CRT.
Yeah.
Where when you see it on a flat screen, like the NES Classic, fantastic, but then you just see it like pixel by pixel versus when some things shade a little bit. One of my favorite examples, I literally showed this to my kid the other day, saying, here's the difference between a flat screen and a CRT. NES game, one of my favorites, it's called Air Fortress. I talk about it often. But when you pop in Air Fortress, the title screen, it shows outer space and it shows the space station, the Air Fortress and all that, and the ships coming in. Cool. But when you see it on a CRT, the stars actually flicker. Like they actually twinkle, but they don't twinkle on a flat screen because of how CRTs.
With the scan lines?
Yeah, exactly. So just by nature of how a CRT works, the stars are actually twinkling, but you're not going to get that. And that's with any space game that has stars is you miss that, and also just how dark the CRT gets versus a flat screen,
like
which
true
is
black.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's really cool.
so I miss that too. I mean, the other stuff's good. It's playing on a flat screen. It's like microwaving leftovers. It's fine.
I love the
It's
analogy.
good, but when you have the original, or maybe that's not exactly the case, but it's like maybe having the like trying the off-brand cereal. It's like, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not the original, right?
King Vitamin versus Fruit Loops, right?
Those are two different cereals.
Looking at some of your other titles like Choo Choo Mimic
Yeah.
and stuff like that, what makes you decide what themes to go with? These random creations, not random maybe, but trying to be the next Lost AAA title. How do you decide what kind of path you're going down to make your next game?
I don't remember where I put my keys. I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. However, my memories of the 80s hold very strong. Like I remember arcade games. I remember which arcade they came from. Oftentimes I remember which games I rented at certain times. I have no idea why I hold this memory, but apparently it was important to me at the time. But I like to tap into those memories that are like, they're shared memories, but people maybe they don't talk about them out loud. Like I recently made, I have it on my shelf, or I have it on my table out there too, but I have a Genesis game called Stack and Attract, where the idea, and the game itself is fine, I think. But the concept is what gets people to laugh, because I say, oh, it's a game where you have to impress the ladies by how many stacks of chairs you can carry.
Absolutely.
And people are like, I thought I was the only one who thought that, or they don't want to admit it out loud. But I do something like that. I'm currently working on a game, and I don't mind talking about it now because it's almost done. But I'm currently working on a game where you're a bored kid sitting in the backseat of a car looking out the window, and you're imagining a shadowy creature running across power lines.
I love it.
I
thought you were going to say you're watching the raindrops to see if they.
Oh,
that
would be a great idea too.
I love like the niche.
Yeah, raindrop racing, or I mean, so all these things that you can kind of tap into from your childhood, where it's like, oh, that's a thing. That's an idea.
You might have answered this next question. You may have stepped onto that, but you often work with developers like Bitworks. What is the most common rigsism that you suggest to developers? Is it finding the niche? Is it trying to tap into that nostalgia of what you remember as a kid?
That works for me. I love tapping into the nostalgia. I mean, outside of just making it fun, but even finding like a cross genre of. I mean, like when, like in the 80s, there were so many Space Invaders clones because Space Invaders was the #1 game. So why wouldn't you want to emulate that? Then Pac-Man came out. Then there was all these Pac-Man clones. In the early days of the Super Nintendo, Street Fighter II was the #1 game. So let's make a bunch of Street Fighter II clones.
Then Doom for PC.
And Doom
clones.
Absolutely.
And what does Doom run on? Everything.
It runs on pregnancy tests. No, we're good.
It does. That's how I learned my third one was coming along. They have. Which was Doom in and of itself. But there's a lot of great indie games that are coming out too that are inspired by some of these classic games that also have a twist. Like there's a great game called Murtop, of all games, which looks like Dig Dug and it plays like Dig Dug, but the gimmick is you lay bombs that are like Bomberman.
Oh, that's
So something like that. Or, there was a game called Hoppity Hop that came out recently. It was an indie title that was, it played like Qbert. So I love Qbert. So this game played like Qbert, but then it had the added bonus of whether you jump on the grass, whether you jump on the ground, whether you jump on the brick, you can do combo multipliers if you stay on that style of platform versus going to the other one, and then you have to get your multipliers going. So
like a fusion matchup.
Yeah. So I like it when the indie games companies do that too, where it's like, it's inspired by this game that I used to play a long time ago, but there's still just enough of a twist where it's like, oh, cool, I can kind of bring that back and enjoy that too. So anytime I can tap into nostalgia, it's always good news for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Kind of looking back with these indie titles, can you think of a game maybe in the last 5 years, last 10 years that you'd kind of demake, put your style on it, and then make it like something? Yeah, I want to make that, and maybe you haven't yet gotten to that
Oh, there's always several of them. That chair stacking game, I originally wanted it to be like Frogger, where you have to like there's like just like aisles of things that are in the way, and you just have to like kind of Frogger your way to the other side. One of them, Choo Choo Mimic, was one. I have it for NES, Dreamcast, whatever. That was one where it started out as one concept, but ended up as something else. Where my original idea was I wanted to make a game. I had it in my mind. I wanted to make a game where you sympathize with the mimic because everyone hates a mimic in games and D&D and everything. It's like, oh, the mimic, that guy. I was like, no, I wanted to make a game where you love the mimic.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So I was like thinking like an Indiana Jones game where it's like you have to like, find the bridge and use the bridge to cross the chasm and save the guys and find the emerald. And at the end of every stage, here's a treasure chest. Oops, it's a mimic. You get eaten and moves on to the next stage. Yeah. And the guy I worked with, Alistair, who's Low Tech Games, I mentioned him my idea. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we did this game? And then when I mentioned him the idea, he was like, "Oh, you mean like Choo Choo Rocket?" Which was one of my favorite Dreamcast games. I was like, "Oh my god, exactly like Choo Choo Rocket. Let's do that." Yeah. So now the game plays like Choo Choo Rocket, and then the name came later when I was like, "Oh my god, Choo Choo Rocket, Choo Choo Mimic." There's a pun in there.
Which Choo Choo Mimic won an award. You went overseas for
an
award.
It did.
I saw,
in the UK, there's Debug Magazine. They are a independently published, independent video game magazine, and very popular in the UK. And they do the Debug Game Awards, which they award these award. They have this award show. There's actually one coming up literally next weekend. I can't attend to this year, unfortunately. Hopefully next year. But yeah, the game was in there as part of the retro game awards, where like here's people who's still making games for old Nintendo systems or Genesis or things like that. And it won the award. Yeah, it won the first inaugural Debug Indie Game Awards for the Retro Award. So yeah, very proud of that. That was cool. And I had no intention I was going to win. I used that as an excuse to go to the UK because I love the UK. But since it was there anyway, I was like, well, I mean, if I win, great. I honestly didn't think I was going to win because one of the games it was that versus 5 other games, and one of the games on that list I thought was like The Ringer. Because it was a game made by an associate studio in the UK. Everyone knew who they were, and I was like, "But congratulations to them!" And it would have been a win for me anyway because I was the announcer voice in that video game. So if they won, I still would have won something.
Yeah.
But when they actually announced my name, I was like in shock. I was like, "Wait a minute, I wasn't supposed to win."
This got to be a typo.
Yeah, I'm glad I was there to accept on my own behalf.
That would seem like a ringer. I could see the surprise on that. So before we move on to this, do you guys have any questions? Please.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah,
UFO game,
UFO 50. Yeah, are you familiar with that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, love UFO 50. And my thing would be, I would love to do that, but I would still piece it out like one by one individually, so I could sell 50 of them. so I can sell 50. So I can sell that 50 times, and then maybe later do here's the all-in-one collection or something.
Yeah, like a story.
Yeah,
Very cool.
And then maybe maybe they all link together. And, yeah. There you go. So you gotta do 50 of them, and they all kind of link like a very Magnolia style. They all link together somehow. So. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it works for UFO 50 because there are with it being on Steam and with it being on in modern consoles now too, you can do like the multi-genre style of gameplay. With some of these older ones, you're only limited to so much space, which means so much user interface for each thing. So harder to make games that have like multiple genres of one game on one cartridge, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, I love DS. Yeah, Retro Game Challenge.
Retro Game Challenge.
Yeah, that was based on Game Center CX. It did. Yeah. Well, it worked out too. I mean, it was based on a Japanese television show of a guy who was playing these retro games, and let's see how good he is playing Punch Out for the first time. And him having to learn all over again.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that. I love that it came.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I love that it came out in the U.S. There's a second one that came out only in Japan, but the original concept for that Retro Game Challenge, that Game Center CX was it's just some dude, and he's like, hey, today I'm playing this, whatever it may be, and you're almost like watching him. Well, especially like if you love Chrono Trigger, or if you love that, some of those Twitch channels do really well because you can't play Chrono Trigger again for the first time. You can't play Final Fantasy VII again for the first time, but this guy is. So you're kind of like living it through him again to go through and
it's
like
a great concept.
Yeah, well, what a great idea. And the TV show's been around a long time. I mean, it has hundreds of episodes now in Japan. But oh, I couldn't remember what it's called. But yeah, the RPG on there.
The retro game challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was fun. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I like the fact that it wasn't just beat the game. It was like get 5,000 points, or just go over here and do this, and then you could move on to the next challenge or something like that. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Gotta get that Kellogg's
cereal.
Get that Kellogg's concept. I have a cereal game, but it's very generic.
Yeah.
I would love to be officially licensed by General Mills or something.
Yeah, you'd have to Kellogg's or whatever.
There we go.
There you go. Did you have a question? Sure, anything.
Okay.
Anything.
So, actually, for all three of you,
Oh, nice.
with things that have leaked out about Project Helix, the PS6,
Mhm.
how do you see the next 5 to 7 years progressing
That-
in gaming?
That's a
That
great
is a
question.
really good
It's like you're
question.
reading my script. So the question is, just in case the audience didn't pick up, it's a great question, is how do we see the next 5 to 7 years, especially with the announcements of things like Project Helix? What's going to happen, right? John, you start first.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I don't think
It's a great
we're too far away from just going all digital.
Yeah.
It's just the good news is even though modern will go digital, and no one's ever complained that there's no physical games on Steam.
Mhm.
Steam is Steam. It's the number one seller of everything.
It's been around for a long time.
Been around for a long time. But console collectors or console gamers like having that physical thing, and I get it too. But I think in the future it'll all be digital, which is fine by me because we already have 55 years worth of video game history to collect for, and the Evercade, and they're still making new Evercade games. So even if like the big companies go digital, there'll always be someone else says like, oh well, I'll come out with my own console with my own thing to collect, like with Evercade, which has been still going very strong. So I think there'll always be something out there.
I do too. I think for me, it's very clear the lines are blurring that we may not care as much what we're playing on. I think it's a huge opportunity. The library is going to grow. Steam has proven it. I do think people will still have preferences of, if I want to be in my living room, I'm going to want to be on a console, especially for newer AAA titles. What will be interesting to me is to see what happens in that whole exclusive space, because you got Sony still trying to be like Nintendo in that it's like, well, we want to hold on to our exclusive, but Nintendo's a unique brand where they have the ability to do that. Sony's going to try that with theirs as well. But I think you'll see this natural merging. You're already starting to see it especially with Helix. You're going to see, especially if Steam and Microsoft start working together.
Yeah.
Helix is going to be a PC. And the beauty thing about PC, though, is that you can retro game on it, you can do AAA titles, and already Steam's proved it. And I think that's what Helix is going to start to do. They're going to lean into that. If you start seeing more cooperation there, really at that point, it's going to be about, will exclusivity only be between Sony and Nintendo on title level? And how long can Sony specifically hold that out? Nintendo's proven they can do that.
Yeah.
So.
And I think you two have explained it well, so I'll tackle the digital games. Do you really own the digital games? That's been the
that's a
argument
concern.
for a while.
Yeah, very.
And I think some states have taken a look into legislation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But really,
It does.
do you own your digital copy of the game? So we have massive Steam libraries. I know I do. I have Epic library. I've got so much stuff. Do I own that game? All the free stuff.
Yeah,
they're
they
giving
could
out?
remove it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really rely on Prime Games and Epic to give me those free games every month. That's what I'm on.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly what I was about to mention. Good old games. It's perfect because they actually are leaning into the marketing. You're right, because they're saying, listen, you do own the game. We don't have DRM in it, and that's a really great play for people who are concerned about that. So I love that they're doing that.
Right.
It makes the dog so unique too.
It
Right?
does.
Maybe compete with Steam head to head if you didn't
Yep.
have kind of a pull towards them.
It does.
Right.
And so I love that they're doing that. And I think it's a great play. Now, what's interesting to people that are always concerned about whether I own it or not, I've amassed so many Steam games over the year. I've never had one pulled from me yet
Right.
that I
Not
can
yet.
remember. And I have so many of them. So now, Valve is Valve. They're financially stable. But you're right. If something were to happen out of one of those stores or something, what happens to what I own?
If Xbox goes up,
Yeah.
Well,
what happens to
look-
all those purchases?
Look what
yeah.
happened to the Microsoft store. I think
Yeah.
the Live. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're right.
Microsoft Live.
Stadia where they refund people, I kind of doubt
I don't
Yeah,
think
I don't
Microsoft
doubt
would
that.
refund people.
Yeah,
Stadia
they-
did refund people to their credit. That is a
Oh,
good
that's
point.
good. Okay.
That's the one good to come out of Stadia, right?
That was
Stadia.
one good thing that came out of Stadia. Yes.
They actually
Yeah.
streamlined
Yeah.
Yeah, and people were all up in arms about the Nintendo key cards and what does that mean and
Oh, right.
that sort of thing.
Sure.
But on that,
And you
Yeah.
have companies like Limited Run doing unique things. But I do have a question to dovetail into what he's talking about. And it's about as we shift to digital, let's talk about conventions because you go to tons of them.
Right.
Does it change the conventions at all? Does it increase the popularity
Yeah,
because of
I mean,
supply and demand? Does it like what's your take on
That's true,
what's
yeah.
the impact to conventions as we go more digital to like what he was saying, what's going on with
It hasn't changed yet.
That's
You know,
true.
we still have Steam.
And
We
we've
still
been
have people
going more
doing digital. Yeah, but there's always going to be an archive of games from Atari to NES, of course, or even just the packaging around them. It's like I already have the games.
Yeah.
But I love finding the advertising flyers, or I love
Yeah.
finding the promotional items that come with some of these. So there's always going to be some sort of convention where tangible things can still be purchased or traded or
And
whatever.
do you think it's experiential, kind of like where people were concerned about? Well, you have Amazon, but you can't replace the experience of going to a store and trying something on. Do you
Sure.
think there's an
No, yeah.
element, whether it's the smell of a convention, that will never be able to be?
There'll always be something.
Okay.
I think there'll always be something involved with attending conventions and just being with your people,
A
and
vibe.
you have a chance to talk about some of these games, and a lot of chance to play a lot of these games too. Some of the different conventions, every convention has their own vibe, but there are some conventions that really focus on the gameplay of it all. So yeah, there's vendors too, but you're going there to replay some of these old arcade games that you haven't seen in an arcade because arcades are kind of a thing of the past.
Yes.
Outside and not. We don't have the arcades that we used to have in the 80s.
No.
In the
Not as
80s,
prevalent.
yeah, like in the 80s, you could go into any gas station, any restaurant. There'd always be at least a couple of cabinets. like imagine going to like a grocery store and you just walk in and they're like right in the lobby. Oh, here's Miss Pac-Man and here's whatever the new game is of the week that will swap out all the time. We just don't have that anymore.
Yeah, we don't.
Or just the idea of like I've heard of a 3DO. I've heard of a CDI, or maybe people have never even played a GameCube. I don't know, but it gives you a chance to play a GameCube. For a lot of these, so I think a lot of it will also just be that experience of actually playing the game the way it was meant to be played.
Yeah. And it's fun too when younger people will walk up and they'll say, I bought this GameCube. I only have HDMI, and you're like helping them figure out how to like connect like the
Yeah,
colors of it. 'Cause
absolutely.
They don't.
Oh, yeah.
They're like they only know HDMI and they've never seen the RCA plug.
Right.
And then you're explaining it. It's kind of cool actually to share that. So.
It is.
Going back to the good old days, you have to have channel 3, channel 4.
Right.
You did explaining
That
that
whole situation, yeah. That's
Yeah,
good old
it's a
days.
different time, of course.
really
But
was.
I mean, and there are people making these third-party accessories, like for the
They are.
GameCube, like the Eon adapter, so you just
Yep.
it goes straight to HDMI.
Yep, the Hypercurions. There's so many of them.
There's a lot of them out
There's
there,
some
which
good
which is wonderful.
It is. It's a really good
Yeah,
market.
convenient.
So kind of looking back, what would 10-year-old you say about how conventions ran? Like someone's coming in and they're treating the NES just like high art, paying high dollar prices. So kind of looking back at your time as a kid and our time as well.
Sure.
The convention prices, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I didn't have any money anyway.
Right,
So
yeah.
I mean,
You're not going to be able to buy.
yeah, whether it was $10 or $1,000, it doesn't make any difference to me. So I mean, growing up, I rented most of my games. That's all I had. Like my generation, like getting a birthday present or a Christmas present. That's when you got your Nintendo game.
Yep, same.
Otherwise, you rented.
That for until whenever, and that was fine because you also had other friends. You could trade games with friends, or you'd make friends at school and kind of use your game for collateral or whatever. Good news for me when Super Mario 3 came out. I was one of the few who had Super Mario 3 at launch, so I could use that to get like 2 or 3 games out of a weekend
Oh, very nice.
for the one Mario
Oh, wow.
3, which I already played through. So
Yeah.
that was good news for me. Hustling up on that one. But no, 10-year-old me, like looking at these game prices, I would be. It would be interesting because I mean, still a lot of great games. Some of my most favorite NES games are like $5.
Yeah.
So
Still.
I would love to, still like you can still find them on this, just outside here at the convention. So I would love those because that I could afford. But for the most part, like it would probably blow my mind as a 10-year-old to see like how much Little Samson is going for today.
Yeah, I bet it would.
Or some of these games where it's just like, oh man, really that one? Or even Contra to an extent because Contra, it was a game that everyone had, so you couldn't even give it away.
Everyone had
But
it,
now,
yeah.
but now if you have an NES, you need to get Contra, and that's going for like $40 or whatever
Yeah.
it is, by today's standards. So
And then you have the oddities like stadium events.
yeah,
It's like-
yeah. And I'd look at that. I was like, well, that's world class track meet. Why would I pay that? I already got the Mario Duck Hunt world class track meet combo card. So why would I do that?
Exactly. So I want to pivot into an interesting topic. I don't know if you
Okay.
guys know this. I mentioned in the intro he's a breakfast cereal historian, and he wrote a book. You guys, you know that.
I do love breakfast cereal.
So what I want to know, you've literally written a book on breakfast cereal history. In
Right.
your research, what was the most moment of like, wait, this actually existed? Like one that sounds like a fever dream, but it actually did exist in the 80s.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, and again, I was there. We were there. But like telling people today who maybe weren't into cereal as much as I was, because to me, growing up, breakfast cereal. I'm just as nostalgic for cereal as I am video games. It was like the one thing I could make at home. I was honestly afraid to touch my stove until I was like in high school.
You just lived on cereal.
So but cereal was the one thing I could make myself. It was easy to do and fine.
Yeah.
And that was about it when I was a kid. And then I kind of got over it. And it wasn't until I had my own children going down the cereal aisle saying, wait, I don't remember that one. I don't remember that one. Sure, along the way before I had kids, I would get like the box of Frosted Mini Wheats or Apple Jacks is a favorite of mine. But that's when all the memories started flooding back of all the commercials, Saturday morning cartoons, and of course all the cereal that we had back then that we don't have now, all the themed cereals and all that. But there was like telling people today, like, no, seriously, there was a cereal called OJ's that was made with 10% orange juice, and it was fantastic. You wouldn't think it. But it was so good. There was like the nerd cereal that came in like two different bags. So you could get like the orange side or the grape side or whatever.
I forgot about that.
Well, see, there you go. You got to read my book.
They split it like the candy box. I do remember that.
See, things like that.
That's a deep cut there.
That is a deep cut. Wow, that was a long time
I was trying to think of like unique packaging.
Yeah.
Sure, it was the late '80s, early '90s. So you would get some of the boxes like the Ghostbusters cereal, the Nintendo cereal system that would have like the lenticular hologram kind of covers and stuff like that. There was a cereal called Morning Funnies that the front actually opened like a panel, like a Sunday comic book. They could actually read I don't know.
I kind of remember those.
Yeah, there's things like that. There's a lot of just a lot of licensed cereals that were just there for the license because it was just there when the movie came out or the TV show came out. And
like the Mr. T cereal, right?
Yeah, it would just kind of come and go. And Mr. T, I think, lasted at least a few years at least. Thanks to Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
It did. That helped. That helped a lot.
Yeah,
the A-Team probably started it. His popularity in WrestleMania, but
we
were trying to capitalize on his
He
brand,
was, and it was just Mr. T. There wasn't an A-Team cereal,
Nope.
but there was Mr. T cereal, and that's how popular Mr. T was. Just popular for being popular. He was just that guy. He was in
Iconic.
cartoons. Oh my god, he was everywhere.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great cereal out there that, and one of my funny ones, I love this too, and you can look it up on YouTube as well. But when there was Robin Hood Mania when Prince of Thieves came out, the Kevin Costner, the action figures, the toy line,
it went crazy.
Yeah, the
Bryan Adams music.
Oh my god, on the radio, it's still on the radio. 35 years later, 40 years later, whatever it is. They made a breakfast, and I'll show you this after the podcast too because it's in my book. But they made a Prince of Thieves cereal where the pieces, they're supposed to be like arrow-shaped pieces. They don't look like arrows, but they look kind of long and phallic-y.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, with the knocking point at the end and the tip on the top. And I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't look like arrows at all.
What are you feeding me, Mom?
Good morning. It's a bowl. Well, I'm not gonna.
Well, that kind of takes us into our next thing. If we grew up, you open a cereal box, awesome prize in the bottom, whether
That's
it's
right.
a glow-in-the-dark ghost or baking soda submarines.
Oh
Lots
my
of
God!
Spoons. I got all kinds of different colors.
Oh yeah, the color changing spoons.
But looking at today, on the back, I still buy kid cereal or my cereal. It's got QR codes.
Right.
So as a historian, have we lost the soul of what cereal used to be?
100%. A lot of the cereal we grew up with has also changed the recipe to make it cheaper.
Yeah.
High fructose corn syrup, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's all the a lot of oat-based cereals turned to corn-based. So it's the reason why Cookie Crisp doesn't taste the same. It's the reason why Count Chocula doesn't taste the same or even feel the same. It's because
I thought it was just getting older.
Yeah, and that has a little bit to do with it too. But I go back to the Monster cereals where like Count Chocula Frankenberry used to be like it was made with oat flour, which is just that it's like what Cheerios are made out of.
Yeah.
And Lucky Charms, so long as it's basic Lucky Charms with the marshmallows. But then they changed it to a corn base, which is a lighter texture. It's not as crunchy. The flavor is not quite there. So unfortunately, a lot of the cereals have also they changed the recipe, for the worse.
Yeah, that's why.
So it's unfortunate. I mean, the Monster cereals always have the coolest boxes.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got myself on trying out all the store brands.
Yeah.
First of all, do you have a favorite store brand? And second of all, has anyone found a good store brand for peanut butter Captain Crunch.
So,
Oh, good call.
So, favorite store brand and peanut butter Captain Crunch.
If there's a substitute for peanut butter
if there's
Captain
a substitute, that's a good question.
Yeah, or just like so you're not paying like the full price or whatever.
I buy the giant dog food size bag.
You know what? And there's
that's what I get.
the good.
Yes. Yep.
The good news is, and this is a true story, and you can look it up if you'd like. But those giant, it's always people are always like, how come how come cereal comes in a loose bag and not a Ziploc baggie? Well, it's like, well, they do. Multimil does.
Mm-hmm, they did.
But they're like, but no, I want one that comes in a box. Well, open the box. There's a bag inside. Come on.
It's the same thing.
Multimil, and this is a true story. Multimil is Post. Just as a subsidiary brand, it comes from the same company.
It's why it's
so
so
that's why it's so good.
It is.
It is
Multimil is
very good.
actually
Yeah.
the best of the off.
And Post is one of the better cereals for quality.
They are.
But but Multi-Meal makes just it looks generic and it comes in bulk. It's the same thing.
The Cinnamon Toast
It-
Crunch, Malt-O-Meal, and the Cocoa Dano bites.
It tastes so similar.
It-
Probably
yeah.
because it's made in the same factory.
Yeah.
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 Fraction of the cost.
Well, and the good news is, like, I love like Frosted Mini Wheats may just be my favorite cereal. It's my go-to favorite cereal, like today. But when you get the off-brand Frosted Mini Wheats, oftentimes because I don't know if they're just like in a rush at the factory, but sometimes you'll find like even more frosting on them. So sometimes they're way better.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The off-brand's actually better.
yeah.
They take out more nutrition and substitute it in cheaper sugar.
Well,
Yeah,
absolutely.
cheaper sugar. That's
I
really
know.
what it is. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, yeah. Why haven't we had a double toasted, frosted Pop Tart yet? How come they don't frost both sides of the Pop Tart?
Right. Yeah, that's.
I know, right?
Did they ever do it as a promotion? I
No.
don't remember them ever doing that.
They've done other promotions. There is a thicker Pop Tart coming out.
remember
That's a
that.
different thing.
Yeah.
They've had Pop Tart cereal. That's not exactly the same.
Not the same.
They've had two different versions of it too over the years. But
So, is there ever one in all of your research, like one that Europe had, that if you had like diplomatic immunity, you could just bring over to the States?
there's so many of them.
Pick one. Pick one.
There's
Buddy.
no one. Oh my God, we could eat here all day.
Oh my gosh.
No, probably my favorite cereal is called Frosted Shreddies, which comes from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have it here in the US. Shreddies looks like Chex. It looks like Life cereal, but it's its own thing. It's still woven like that. But it's a different quality of cereal. And there's a frosted version. They have other versions too. There's like a honey nut version. Canada for a short time had a banana bread flavored Shreddies, which I thought was wonderful.
Getting kind of hungry now.
That sounds great.
Yeah, but I mean, they've had other cereals. South Korea had was it South Korea? No, it was also in the UK. They made when Squid Games came out. They had the Squid Games honeycomb flavored cereal that tasted like the honeycomb from the game in Squid Games, and it was wonderful. So there are things like that, and then other things too, like looking around for other cereals. And I also I spend way too much money importing cereal too, or I used to. I haven't done it in a while. But South Africa, of all places, they have a bubblegum flavored cereal, which with giant marshmallows. There is just like here in the United States, everything like main flavor like watermelon, cherry.
Yeah.
Japan, you'll see a lot of melon flavored things as the popular brand. For some reason, South Africa, everything's cream soda flavored. So it makes sense there would be a cream soda flavored cereal.
Wow.
Things like that. And they also have a strawberry, I think it's called Strawberry Pops in South Africa, which is very popular. I like it because it's the same texture, same quality, same everything as the strawberry flavored side of Nerd cereal. Going back to Nerd cereal. They don't have Nerd cereal anymore in America, but if you want that strawberry Nerd cereal, it's the same thing.
And when you're importing, they're not using high fructose corn syrup as much, or what
I
ingredient?
think they still. It's about the same.
'Cause
Yeah,
it's cheaper. Probably,
it's cereal. So
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. It's all placebo after a while anyway.
It
so.
is.
Before we move on, I'm sneaking in a question here. So, in your history and studying of all the cereals, who gave what you think is the best prize in the cereal box?
Oh, the
Ooh,
best
that's
prize for a
good
cereal
one.
box. I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have a few of my. My favorite prize. I think it was Kellogg's.
Yeah.
You correct me if I'm wrong, please. But they had the kind of plastic. I loved Transformers in the 80s. And so they had the little transforming spaceships and stuff. It was super cheap plastic. You build your own model. But to me, that was like the coolest thing ever.
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, but yeah, there was I still have the Garfield reflector cat with eyes that you put on your bicycle, and there's a lot of those old, like you were talking about, like the baking soda submarines. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I still have trauma where I would just be waiting. My brother would get to the prize first and then not tell me, and I get to the bottom. I was so mad, and he just went.
been there.
So I still have trauma with like. I get to
I'm
the bottom.
sorry.
Is it there? Is it there? Did he get into it? I
Sometimes
did do
if you
that.
pull the pull bag out, sometimes like the
Yep.
like the license plates would be on the inside, like
They would.
between the box and the bag.
Yep, I tried
So,
that tag.
I don't know.
Trust me.
I'm the sixth of 7 kids, so
Oh,
we
so
we
yeah.
had to share. So
Yeah.
like
Did you take turns?
we all knew whose turn it was for
That's
whatever
smart.
the prize was. So
That's
it's
very
like
diplomatic. That's
yeah.
good.
Well, it worked.
Well, I'm going to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
So, you are known to be into professional wrestling. We mentioned that.
Yep, love
That's
wrestling.
important. So you work for some promotions.
I
We
do.
were talking about that last night. This is a unique question that I really want to know.
Okay.
If you were in a battle royale
Okay.
at this convention
Oh
on the
my.
floor, what's one piece of retro hardware you'd use as a weapon, illegal or otherwise? What are you going to reach for? Is it like a heavy Sega Saturn? What are you going to use? So if you're in a
Not the
match,
Saturn.
what are you going to grab?
You know, the 64 is practically unbreakable, so we can probably,
Yeah.
so that'd be
good.
you know, DDT someone on that one maybe. No, I love you know, and I've worked for a few hardcore promotions where they use like light bulbs over heads and
Oh,
you know,
like
thumbtacks on the
hardcore.
ground.
Yeah.
So
ECW stuff, right?
yeah. There was recently an anime death match where somebody grabbed a Gundam model kit and dumped that out and body slammed them on the Gundam model parts and everything.
As if they're kind of like the pins.
Yeah, as if they're like
push pins.
as if they're like thumbtacks, right?
Oh, like Legos in a way.
Yeah. And I've seen Legos before used in wrestling too, where they dump out the Legos. I was like, oh my god, it's
That
the worst
would
thing
hurt,
ever.
actually.
It would so hurt.
That would hurt probably more than thumbtacks.
I mean, I probably couldn't because I'd feel so bad, but I'd love to just use like ROM chips that have those teeth on them and everything,
Oh.
because they'll get stuck in you. But if it wasn't that, I mean, even just like a bag full of Game Boy games, that'd be kind of
that would
funny.
be good. You know,
Yeah.
it'd be a great gimmick if you had the power glove and you choke slam people with the power glove.
Wouldn't have to do it in. I could just like pretend I'm doing it like VR,
That's
you know,
right, that's right.
code in the
that would
things,
even be better, and they have to jump up.
and they have to jump up and.
I love this. It might even make a great video game.
Yeah, there you go. Actually, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yes. That's great.
Oh, I love it.
So we're going to parallel universe. You are the super world heavyweight champion.
Oh, good.
Instead of a YouTube star.
Sure. Okay.
What's your finishing move call, and what retro theme song or song is your walkout?
Your entrance music.
Come on,
So your
finishing
walkout
move.
is,
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I got to think about this one. So if I was a retro gaming themed wrestler and I had a finishing move, oh man,
The up, down, down.
yeah, it'd be like some attacking combo. Where I headbutt him twice, I kick him in the nuts twice. You know, like left punch, right punch, left punch, right. You know, I don't know. Yeah, I mean I guess that could work too. Yeah, man, I'd have to. I'm sure there's like some video game reference, like the what like the crash screen, or I'm trying to think of like a like not the game over. That sounds so generic, but yeah, I'd come up with some kind of
You know what? You're going to be
maybe
heading
it's
back
like
tonight, and it's going to
I know I'm
gonna
gonna start
you
thinking
tomorrow
like,
on a plane.
yeah. I should have said some inverted reverse Indian deathlock neck grip and called it like the tangled controller or
There
something.
you
You know.
go. What would your entrance music be?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. You know, it's funny. As a ring announcer, I do come out to music,
Oh.
and for a little bit of time, I used. It's a newer game now, but Deltarune. There's a song called there's like it's I think it's just called Big Shot or something like that. It's not the Billy Joel one, but it's like it was like a boss's theme that Lacey Johnson, buddy of mine who does like video game cover tunes,
so cool.
did a version of that song. So for a while there, I walked out to that song.
That's awesome.
Just
Okay.
yeah, just for fun, but you know,
I like it.
yeah. There's a lot of great video game music that could absolutely be used for like a wrestler's theme song or walkout music or whatever. So
That's really
Yeah.
good. Cool. We're getting close to our time here. Any additional questions before we wrap it up that you guys want to ask John while we have him? The peanut butter
Yeah,
crunch?
I know.
Oh, yes, that's right. We know. What's
Yeah.
the substitute for peanut butter crunch?
yeah, there are so it's funny. There are so many like store brands, like the off brand, like I don't know what the major stores here are here.
We have the Walmarts. And
Okay, sure.
We have
Well, yeah,
Schnucks,
yeah.
Hy-Vees.
You know, and the Walmart cereals sometimes can be okay, but it's funny because out of all of them, and like the Malto Meal and everyone else, there are a few breakfast cereals that are out there that aren't like replicatable. Like you just don't. And I think peanut butter crunch is one of them. Like you.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Aldi's
Aldi.
is good. Mhm.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just need
Just a
you'll find a marshmallow mateys everywhere. You know.
yeah. But you are right. I don't know if I've seen one specific to that. to
Yeah,
the-
like they don't do like a lot of them will do like the generic Rice Krispies, but they won't do the generic Cocoa Krispies. They'll do the Cocoa Pebbles.
I wonder why.
I don't know. It's one of those things that I've looked for that.
Yeah. Exactly. Maybe
Yeah.
it's like a demand thing. You know.
It doesn't anymore.
It doesn't
Yeah,
anymore.
Yeah,
think so,
it lasted.
Rice Krispie treat cereal. Yeah.
Rice Krispie treat cereal lasted a lot longer than most people realized, but
It
it was still
did.
available for a while, and then they changed the recipe, and then it was gone like 6
Yeah.
months later,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because instead of having it be the clusters, it was just kind of like it was like frosted, which they do have.
Yeah.
It was frosted Rice Krispies with extra marshmallows, and it wasn't the same.
Yeah, not the same.
Yeah, the clusters was the perfect.
I have another cereal question. But
I love it.
to demand some context of my weirdest cereal habit is that I prefer a small cup of milk because I like live cereal.
Mhm.
I like crispy, but it's like those small doses. So
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's a good way to do it. Yeah,
Weird cereal habits? Anybody? Recommendations?
that's right. Yeah.
Small
Which is a great idea, by the way, because like Life cereal, just like Fruity Pebbles,
Weird cereal.
it goes soggy so quickly. So
it
you,
does.
you do the spoon with that and then dip it into the milk.
I just do really small portions.
Just small portions
Okay.
of milk.
Well,
Yeah.
like even right now,
Yeah.
I can hold the cup and kind of eat while
Oh, there we
I'm
go.
moving around.
Yeah, I've never done it, but I've known people who have had frosted mini wheats, Apple Jacks. There's a couple more on the list too. But they will eat it with warm milk. Like they'll warm the milk first.
I've heard of that actually.
Like in the wintertime. And I was like, okay. I was like, I wouldn't do that because I'm just so like milk cereal, and I love like chocolate milk. I mean, I've seen people like eat tricks with strawberry milk. I was like, I've never thought of that.
I've heard of that too. That makes sense.
It does make sense, but it's like, yeah, I'm so boring when it comes to cereal. I'm just like,
I think for me, like when I was a
think I'm the
kid,
same
which
way.
one was like one? All of us probably did this. I would put sugar on things you didn't need to. Like I would put sugar on Kix. I would put
Okay.
sugar on sometimes, like Frosted Flakes or like you don't need
Yeah.
to. Like
It's already
now,
frosted.
I don't do that anymore. But like
Yeah.
you, like I like it really crunchy. I'll eat cereal just dry as a snack.
yeah, I've heard people do
And
that too.
I love doing that. So I use very little milk for that reason because there's only a few cereals I like soggy. Like there's some that are better soggy,
Yeah.
but otherwise I like them crunchy. So I use very little milk.
That's
kinda
and that's a
my
good
thing.
idea.
Peanut butter Captain Crunch is one of the few that I want to soften.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
have softened.
Yeah.
Captain Crunch will destroy the roof of your mouth.
Yeah.
You
gotta
want that
soften
to
it
be
up a little
soft.
bit. Yeah.
There are generic Captain Crunches.
Yeah.
There are, yeah,
And they're great.
They're good, and they're good.
Yeah, if
they're
you like
good.
Captain Crunch,
They're good
yeah.
to munch on. Doug,
Perfect.
did you have one? Like any weird cereal habits?
I'm so
Not
boring when it
really,
comes to
you know.
cereal. Yeah, I'm just
I
like
think,
cereal milk. Yeah.
Your normal cereal bowl. I always ate a huge because I love cereal.
Yeah.
So I just get an oversized popcorn bowl of cereal and not healthy.
Yeah, and I never mixed cereal. You can mix
Yeah.
some cereals, but again,
But
On
there
that
is a-
point, though, my brother would, going back to my brother, I'm an
Yeah.
adult. When we were growing up, he'd get the 32-ounce size cups. He'd always put cereal in that. It's just like you would do soda. You know how you go to a fountain with the
Oh, right, right.
suicides or whatever they
Yeah.
used to call
Oh,
them.
yeah,
He'd do
yeah.
that with cereal. One layer would be golden grams.
Yeah.
The next layer would be
But
Captain
some
Crunch.
of
And I'm
them-
like, wow.
maybe that's the hack we don't know about.
yeah, very
Yeah.
contrasting
Yeah.
ones.
it's a contrasted. The
Yeah.
7-layer type of cereal. I like that.
Yeah.
Different cereals also get soggy at different times.
They do.
So
Different ratios.
the
yeah.
the different textures at once might be like an information overload for
Yeah.
for many.
Well, it's
Um,
funny you say that, I think, because there are some cereals that like, okay, I know if I put my milk in here, I can go get my coffee or get something.
Right.
That's true. You
It's gonna
can
be
wait.
Yeah.
That's true.
But there's some,
Yeah.
I can't put this milk in until I'm ready.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fruity
you got
Pebbles
to
would be
plan
one.
it out.
Right,
So that's
exactly.
really good.
Or with like Captain Crunch for me, sometimes I put it in, 5-10 minutes ahead of time.
Just let it sit.
Yeah.
Let the
Yeah.
Captain Crunch
Oh, yeah.
sit in the milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it will destroy your mouth. That's actually very, very true.
It's not a raw cereal.
Well, we could probably talk for hours
I know.
about cereal
One-
and everything. but-
One more weird habit I thought
Yes,
of one,
please, yes.
and it's not really that weird, but I actually like grape nuts. That's one.
I would put sugar on grape nuts. That was one of the ones
Yeah,
I would do
I
as a
had
kid.
to.
Yeah.
and my other thing is like I love Rice Krispies just without sugar. I don't put sugar on anything.
Okay,
So just
yeah.
even just default, and everyone else is like, well, no, I don't
That's
do
not
that.
that weird.
Yeah, as a kid, absolutely. As a kid, I
Yeah.
wanted if I couldn't see it, and then you get that big old spoonful of milk sugar afterwards.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Anyway, go
I
ahead.
always
Sorry.
remember my grandparents had the big shredded wheat, like the big.
Oh,
grape-
sure, like
the one
Weetabix.
big piece
I always
you
have
put
that
in
in my
there?
mind
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I don't know why
Yeah.
that always.
You know what's funny? And those are actually pretty good.
They weren't bad.
Yeah.
You'd want those to sit in milk sometimes.
You do
as
want
well,
you do
like
want to
we-
you want
Oh,
to absorb those
Yeah.
for sure.
So we could just talk cereal. This could just become a cereal podcast.
It really
now.
could, yeah.
I'm just gonna
Talk about cereal more than video games at this time.
I know. We're just,
It's okay. I can
we're
talk
just gonna
about
make it
cereal
a
all day too.
cereal podcast.
All right.
Do you have one more game?
Yeah, please, another gaming question. Yes, please.
Go for it.
So, it's kind of two-part. Your favorite Xbox game
Okay.
Oh.
for all three of you.
Okay.
And then also your favorite Nintendo 64 game.
Okay. Favorite X.
Yeah.
My childhood is
Sure.
64. So
Yeah.
favorite Xbox, OG Xbox, I
Yeah.
assume, and then favorite N64.
N64.
Go, you go, John.
I go first. Oh my goodness. I'm not. I wasn't as into Xbox. It was funny. I got an Xbox at launch. I loved it, but it just kind of sat there because I played my GameCube more.
Yeah.
So I ended up trading in my Xbox, and I had like 3 games. I had like Halo, of course. I had like Shrek and something else. I ended up trading it for a Game Boy Advance SP, and my friends laughed at me at first, but I still have that Game Boy Advance SP, and it still plays great.
Good choice.
My favorite Xbox game probably Crimson Skies. Loved Crimson Skies. That's a game.
Took my answer.
Oh no! Okay, I can think of another one maybe.
No, Crimson Skies is good.
Yeah, well, it's that good that
It's a
that
great
two or
game.
three of us. And then Nintendo 64. I mean, I'm not. Again, it's funny with Xbox. I'm not the biggest Nintendo 64 fan, but there's a few games on there that I love, and those games I really, really love. So I always have a 64 handy. My favorite game is Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, which came out in Japan.
Oh yeah.
Which
Good one.
it's like the Japanese version of No Mercy.
Which that was my answer, was No Mercy.
Yeah. So
the N64,
and
yeah.
Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, it plays like No Mercy, but you can also edit things like which moves knock you out, which moves make you bleed.
It had more features. Sets
Yeah, there's
in it,
some more customizable things on there,
Yeah.
which for me, which was great.
Yeah.
The 64 really thrived on the wrestling.
It sure did.
Wrestling came into its own on the
Yeah,
N64.
well, with the 4 controller ports, and of course, just everyone
Yep.
playing
Being
GoldenEye
able to
or
play.
yeah.
GoldenEye was huge.
Yeah,
I never
but
got
no.
into GoldenEye as much, but my
Yeah,
friends liked
it was fun as a multiplayer with friends,
Yeah,
but
of
I mean,
course.
I think the game kind of aged by now. But like,
Yeah.
no, I mean, there was another 64 game I really really liked, and what was I thinking about it? You go ahead, and maybe I'll come back.
You go, Doug.
I would say
Then I'll
Virtual
go.
Pro Wrestling 2, but
Yeah.
I'll think of a US game.
My answer was Crimson Skies. It's such a great game.
Oh, so good.
But I think, and if I'm remembering the right system, Battlefield 2, where you would hot swap between soldiers, I think, if I've got the right game. And then my other pick would be, and I just had it. The system was Xbox and
It was
64.
N64 and the Xbox.
Perfect Dark. I had to remember this.
Oh, Perfect Dark.
Perfect
yeah.
Dark
That's-
is such
that's
a
a good
great
one.
game.
That's a
yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they canceled a new one.
So Crimson Skies, Perfect Dark for me.
Good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
So I got to go to the wrestling games for the N64. That's what I probably played most on it, I would say. It was a hard game, but the Star Wars Empire, Shadow of the Empire
Oh,
on
okay.
N64. It
Classic.
was hard. I liked it at the time, but
Arcade. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
That'd be
is.
great.
Oh yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So Xbox, I will say Fable,
Okay.
Oh.
and I
Good
will
call.
say
Remakes coming
Knights
out?
of the Old Republic by BioWare.
Interesting.
I don't fillet me on this. I've never played Jade Empire as well, and I heard if you like Knights of the Old Republic, Jade Empire. So I'd say if you're going with Xbox, that those would be my ones I think I would have to go to. That's a good question though. So yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love it.
Any other questions?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go for
What's
it.
up?
So wrestling wise, the video games, what are your top 3 favorite wrestling video games?
Top 3 favorite wrestling video games.
Oh, I know. There's a lot. There's a lot
a lot of good
there's a lot to cover and a lot to consider too. I mean, my go-to answer, of course, is Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, which came out for the 64 in Japan. I love the Fire Pro series. I played like hours. If they actually calculated hours, I probably played more Fire Pro Wrestling S 6-man Scramble on the Saturn than any other game in existence because we stayed up all night playing, just creating characters and all that. I love the Fire Pro games, and the Fire Pro games that they have on even like the Game Boy Advance or there was one that came out in the US for the PlayStation 2. Finally, those were great. But going all the way back. I mean, even just pro wrestling for the NES, I'll still play that today.
Yeah, Starman.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, for me, I would say
There's a lot of great ones.
There's so many good ones. So I throw back to
Here
you.
Comes the Pain. I mean,
I loved the WrestleFest for arcade, like the whole.
Yeah.
Those are great.
yeah.
If you're going modern, there was the indie studio had done a Retromania. Retromania
Yep.
Wrestling.
I'm in that one.
And yeah, that's a great game
Yeah.
too. Diamond Dallas Page, like you got Jake the Snake in it. It's so good. And I would say third, outside of what we talked about, No Mercy, I would say for the Super Nintendo, I played the heck out of Raw is War. And I remember playing it on the Sega CD, and it was cool because it had like their theme music was a little bit better. You'd have the video, full motion video.
The video
But
there,
I just love
finisher.
the Super Nintendo better version because it seems like the colors popped a little more. I
Right.
don't know, just something about that.
I played a lot of that too.
What about you?
I wasn't really into wrestling games, but the ones that really held my heart was WrestleMania on Super Nintendo, and then it got a lot of trash talk, I think, but Warzone on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Warzone.
I mean,
It was like a punch
I know
simulator.
there were better games, but that
Yeah.
one is what I had.
There was just
so I played
there was a
it.
learning curve with the moves.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it
Get,
was. You were just
forward down
mashing
X
buttons.
to do a hip toss, and it's
I
like,
get some
yeah.
it
hate from
was.
Keith for that.
It's
But
okay.
it was hard because the reason why I didn't like the PlayStation ones because you're coming from the Nintendo 64 where you had that great grapple system.
Yeah.
Where I don't know, and it's like they abandoned that. It became more punching
Yeah.
and kicking. So
Yeah.
you had a question?
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, sure.
I know we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So something I have always struggled with because it was before my time, something like the NES, the SNES, that kind of stuff. There is something I found, and I'm sure some other people have heard of it, called retro achievements. Have you heard of it?
Some of the emulation games are doing
Retro
that, yes.
achievements, yeah.
So
Yep.
a lot of the emulators support it where you log into it and it's all community driven.
That's
They
cool.
go through and make like achievement sets. And it actually pulls like you
It
beat
works,
the thing in the
yeah.
game, you beat, like say Super Mario 64. And then it all populates in your account and everything and it's all really cool. Like being able to go back and play the Pokemon games and like I got an achievement for getting this gym badge, this gym
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. To me, it's adding a lot. Have you any of you had any experience with that?
I haven't. No.
I have not. I want to
No,
get into it.
I've
now.
heard of it though. I've heard
Yeah.
of it.
I have. So I'm really big on emulation. If you listen to a lot of our podcasts,
We talk a lot about
I
it.
talk about emulation over physical media. I don't have the space, bless my wife, but I don't have the cash flow either. So emulation is what I do, and I have played with some of that.
Yeah.
It works really well. And
Yeah.
we were running out of time, but the one thing I've wanted to see, and I've talked about it before, is one username for all platforms. That way it's like, hey, this is Doug, this is his score.
Right.
For every platform, not my Xbox score, not my PlayStation Network score.
Yeah.
This is my score. Look
Have
at
it
that.
for
That's
everything.
awesome.
Yeah. Have it totally pulled together. That would
Yeah.
be really. I like that feature. I think
Yeah.
that's
That'd be
something
fun.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, hey, look at me. This is everything I've achieved across all the platforms.
It'd be kind of neat to see all those stats. So. I know.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Just the most basic, like, he beat this game on this date. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be
Yeah.
anything crazy, like,
Just for memory purposes. Yeah, that's good. Well, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. These were awesome questions. You guys
Yeah.
are amazing. Thank you so much. And John, just want to thank you so much
Sure.
for being open, sharing all these amazing stories. It's been a real privilege to have a veteran like you here. And
No,
finally
thank
get to
you.
meet you. I was telling John last night. It's weird. It's like I feel like I know him because I watch his videos all the time.
Yeah.
So it feels kind of creepy when I'm like asking him questions like, "So you found a podcast signed
Right.
by Nelly?" And he's never met me before, but I know all this stuff about
Yeah.
him, right?
Well, and that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning with my radio background. Is I'm talking to the individual, not the crews. You know.
And it makes a connection. It really
It does, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's really
I love
good. So, John, where can people find you if they're not tracking you?
Yeah, it would be nice to have that retro achievement thing you were talking about, just all
Yeah,
in
I'm
one
gonna
spot,
look
right?
into that.
For the most part, all social media is John Blue Riggs. My first name, the color blue. My last name. I had blue hair when I created that screen name. I don't have much hair
I've always
anymore.
wondered why you had the blue.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
it was my first radio name because there was already a guy in the radio station named John. So it's like,
Okay.
oh, everyone just called me Blue because I had blue hair in the late '90s. It was weird. So John Blue Riggs, the name stuck. Yeah, I mean, my name is just literally John Riggs on YouTube. It's not anything special. So just type in John Riggs, you'll see a cartoon of my face. And yeah, John Blue Riggs everywhere else.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we also want to thank the Como RetroCon for bringing us all together for this. This
Yeah.
has been great. It's been a
How
good
fun.
time. And because, conventions like this, it's cool. The community getting to meet people like you. So it's been awesome. So thank you guys so much for your time. This has been great. And you all stay nerdy. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Love it.